And one of the things that drove me nuts about when they were so mad at me about COVID, forget about the fact that CNN literally used a filter on my face to make me look jaundiced, which is so...
Is that true?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, they literally... we've showed side-by-side clips of the original video that I posted on Instagram, which is just me standing in front of my sauna with my iPhone going, I feel pretty good. You know, and then they took that and put it through a filter that made me look yellow. Have you seen it?
No.
See, pull it up because it's so strange. But all those people are gone now, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
all those
Brian
CNN
Stelter.
Boop. Yeah, they're all on the chopping block. Don Lemon's on the chopping block. Jim Costa. They're all on the way out, which is hilarious.
Look, I shouldn't laugh.
But they should be because they suck at their job. It's not. It has nothing to do with what they did to me.
I mean,
but look at this. That's the picture on the bottom.
Oh my God!
That's the real me.
You look like the Hulk.
Yeah, it's crazy. They wanted to make me look like dog shit. They wanted to make me look like I've been smoking.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes.
Horse dewormer.
Praise this horse dewormer. Meanwhile, I didn't praise it. This is what I did. I listed the things that I took, and I said I'm way better.
Right.
In 3 days.
Right.
In 5 days, I was negative.
Right.
No one cared about that. 6 days later, I did 10 rounds in the bag. I didn't get that sick.
No.
And I wasn't vaccinated, and I was 54.
You didn't get sick because you're in good shape.
Yes.
Yes.
But this is the thing that they don't want you to say. They wanted it to be, this is something that everyone has to do, and if you don't do it, you're not doing the right thing.
No, listen, there's data, and this is one of the sort of storylines that I need to pursue going forward. You're talking about, what's going to happen. There's this whole behavioral psychology movement that the governments and private, sort of NGOs funded, and really, it started a few years ago, but it really took off with COVID. This idea of how do we nudge and persuade people? How do we get healthy people to stay home because, they're not really at risk, and some of them are aware of that. So is the best way to try to scare them? Is the best way social pressure? Is the best way to shut stuff down so they just can't go anywhere? How do we get people without actually doing sort of Chinese style, we're just going to take your rights away? How do we get people to surrender their rights? And the email, I don't think I've said this to you in the past, but the email that I got, it was just a couple lines a few months ago that stuck with me more than any of the, obviously a lot of people contact me over the last couple of years. This guy said to me, he said, I thought love and hate were the two most powerful emotions, but it turns out I was wrong. It turns out the most powerful emotion is fear. Fear. And it's true. If you can scare people, you can get them to do whatever you want.
Yeah, hate dissipates. Fear lingers.
Yeah.
And especially during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And there's a certain level of anxiety that many people in this country already had. And they had a hard time with just regular, everyday life before the pandemic. And then the pandemic came along, and that shit got ramped up to 11. And we got to see a lot of very frail, psychologically frail people completely fall apart. And you saw them on Twitter calling people that were unvaccinated. They called them plague rats. Yeah. I mean, it's just wild. And this othering of other people. The same people that when Roe v. Wade was overturned, they're my body, my choice. The same people.
And which, by the way, I think you and I mean, we talked about that briefly the last time I was on. I think we both agree about that.
Yes.
That people, that are banning abortion is a mistake.
Yes.
That
Clearly.
You're not going to get women not to have abortions. You're just going to make
it
miserable.
more dangerous.
Yep.
You can make it horrible. It's a horrible health choice.
Yep.
And, there's conversations to be had, particularly about late-term abortion.
Yes.
And there's certainly some conversations to be had about cases of rape and certainly underage people. It's like the idea that you're going to flat out ban that from those people is it's horrifying.
Yes, and look, I think as in a lot of things, the Europeans have found sort of this. It's 15 weeks or whatever. There's reasonable ways you can do this, but I think I'm consistent. I didn't want to force people to be vaccinated, and I don't want to force people to have an abortion or not to have an abortion. And I hate abortion. Okay, anybody who has kids knows that. Anybody who's seen the sonogram, or whatever, abortion is murder. It's the murder of a living child. Okay, it doesn't mean you can ban it. I wrote something about this a few months ago, the day after that decision got leaked. Just because it's horrible doesn't mean you can ban it. And all I ask, I guess, of myself is to try to be consistent ideologically. And, if I don't believe that I should have, vaccinated, that I should have to be vaccinated, or that you need to be vaccinated because I want you to be, then it's the same thing with abortion. It's a personal decision, even if I think it's a horrible